Are you looking for a really good 1/72 scale World War II aircraft to build? Maybe this kit is what you're looking for. Hey guys, welcome to the channel and to this inbox review of an absolutely awesome kit. This is the 1/72 scale Mitsubishi Zero Fighter from Tamiya. This is also called the Model 21, which is one of the earlier models that participated in the attack on Pearl Harbor. If we start by looking at the box art, we see two aircrafts, both in the light color scheme that was used for the carrier versions of this aircraft. And we also see a sticker here with some information about 8 marking options. And as we will see later when we look into the kit, there is an extra decal sheet just for that. And the kit itself, it was released in 2014, and the tooling is from 2012. So let's have a look what's inside the box. First we have the decals. There are 2 sheets of those. We will look more into those later on. We have the assembly instructions. We have one bag with one big sprue and also a small bag with the clear parts and a couple of polycaps. We have a second bag of a large sprue and also a small stub for the engine cowling. And we have some paint and decal callouts, and some reference information about the Zero Fighter. So if we start looking at the first bag, we first have to remove those pesky staples that Tamiya loves to seal the bags with. I'm not a big fan of this, as you can understand, because I think they should have resealable bags like everybody else have. Okay, so let's have a look here. Okay, so we have fuselage and wings and the prop and the spinner. This is the area in front of the windscreen, the antenna, and we have the instrument panels. In general, I think that the details are absolutely amazing. This is really good, and as you can see, those panel lines and rivets in the wings and the sides of the fuselage. That is really nice. There are also a lot of small parts for the, I think these are for the cockpit, and these guys over here, those are counterweights for the flaps. My experience of this kit, because I've built this once, is that the fit is very, very good. So you actually have to be careful when you are priming and painting the insides, so you don't get too much paint on the mating surfaces. For example, I had problems with mating the fuselage halves together because I had paints all on the edges here, and so I had to sand that off just to make everything fit together perfectly. So just with that in mind, I think you can build a Zero that looks really good if you are careful, because the kit itself is fantastic. So you you have to just be careful when you are painting like interior stuff like that. Okay. So we have the engine cowling as a separate part that has been molded in one piece, and it looks absolutely fantastic. They must have used sliding molds for this, and to get all the details in this small scale. So yeah, that looks really, really nice. Okay, on with the second bag. And here we have polycaps. Those are for the prop and the engine. And we have the clear parts. And here comes the reason why I don't like these staples, and that is because if you don't remove them, and if you are not careful when you open the bag, you might scratch the clear parts. So that's why I'm removing the staples here. Okay, so we have the canopy with the windscreen, and we have the canopy in two different versions if you want to build it open or close. And we also have the gun sight, or I don't think it's called a head-up display in this type of aircraft. It's more just a sight for the gun to aim the gun. And this looks absolutely fantastic as well. Everything looks crystal clear and really great. So we put that back in the bag so we don't scratch it. And we have the second sprue with styrene parts. And we have some cockpit interior details, stabilizers and a drop tank. We have a second prop, a spinner, and I think that the reason for this is that this kit is made for a number of versions of the Zero. So you have to look carefully in the assembly instructions when you put this kit together. So you pick the right the engine cowling and the transmission cover, sorry, and the right spinner for this specific kit. And we have the share and the details for the undercarriage, and everything looks really, really, really nice. I will zoom in a little bit. It's almost like a resin counterpart. It's the details are very, very nice. The wheels look okay, I think. Yeah, you could possibly replace them with resin and to get weighted tires, but in general they look very good. So okay. As you can see, this bag has heat seal instead of the staples, and yeah, it has its issues as well. Okay, so we have two large sheets of decals, and there are this is the extra sheet that is included in this specific kit, and so there's only markings for different aircraft types here. And here we have the more markings, and we have some stencils, the seat belt, and we also have instruments or gauges for the instrument panel. Everything looks really good. I know that Tamiya decals are a little bit hard to work with sometimes, and if I remember correctly, I had a couple of issues, but I think that was more inexperience on my behalf, because when I built this kit, it was I think the second or the third kit that I had built since I got back to the hobby. We also note that the yellow identification stripes on the leading edge of the wings are decals, which of course can be a bit of an issue to get them to get sort of conform with the leading edge of the wing. But I actually managed to do this quite good in that kit, so I'm confident that the second time here it will not be an issue, I believe. So here we have some background information on the Zero Fighter, and this is a multi-language pamphlet with what I would call generic information or common information for all the aircraft types that with what they looked like, and yeah, specific information about that. Something that is interesting is actually this, how the different wing tips looked on the different models, and how the wings were folded. For example, this if you want to build the Model 21 with a folded wing, let's say that you want to make a diorama with or a vignette with an aircraft carrier deck, then it might make sense to have a folded wingtips, and in that case you need to cut the wingtip and fold it like this. That is something that is unfortunately not done in the kit itself, so you have to do some modifications on your own with that. Okay, so if we look at the assembly instructions, on the first page we have some information about the tools, and we also have a paint callout with Tamiya paints, of course. We have some general information about building and type of glues and paints that you can use. The assembly kicks off with the interior of the cockpit, like this. Then we move on to the engine, and there is of course opportunities for detailing here if you want to add ignition wires and stuff like that. We continue with the interior, and we can notice that in the interior there is an area that is where Tamiya recommends that you should mix X13 and X25. And the reason for that is that this should be painted in the Aotake, the sort of transparent blue and green lacquer that was used on the aircraft interior. It was to prevent corrosion on the aluminium, and there are specific paints for this. So for example, this from Guns Aquas, this paint you can use, or you can use a metal tone, like a bright metal tone, and on top of that you can put a mix of I think it's X25 and X23. On top of that, I think that looks best. That's the best option. I'm not really fond of this because I think it's too blue. I prefer to have a more green tone to it. Okay, so and as you can see in the build, there are a lot of places where you should add this Aotake color, and yeah, this is a kit with a relatively low number of parts, so the build is quite quick when you have done all the sub-modules and all the painting, and you're putting stuff together, and it's quite quick. But there are a lot of details and nice things that you can do, so the painting can be a bit time consuming, but in the end it will look really nice. And we continue with the landing gear, and finally the assembly of the windscreen and the canopy, depending on which version you are doing. If you're doing the closed or open, then you can choose two different parts for that. Okay, and finally we put in the prop with the spinner and the drop tanks and some small, I think they are counterweights or small parts that go on to the wings. And we have, at the end we have a number of marking options, and I think that the small sheet with the decals, they correspond with these. And there is also a supplementary marking and paint fallout for the second decal sheet. So here you have the extra versions that is not covered by the main assembly instructions. So as you can see, there are both the light colored version for the carrier, and there are also the green version that also look really nice. So I haven't decided which one I will build when I make a build of this kit, but I think I will come up with something. So, what is my impression of this kit? I have built this kit once, and I can say that it is an absolutely joy to build. The fit and the detailing is great, and the instructions are really clear, and it's very easy to follow and to assemble all the submodules. The only thing or drawback, or what should I say, this kit has that it's a little bit more expensive than the offerings from Airfix and Hasegawa, but in my opinion this kit is much better than the Airfix kit, for example. So I can fully recommend this. And if you are looking for a 1/72 scale kit to build, or if this is something that you want to try to build in 1/72 scale, and you are used building 148 to 132 scale kits, and think that 1/72 scale is it's a lot of problems with fitting and bad detailing, I would say that this kit is not like that. It's really good. And if you decide to build this kit, I also recommend that you use a mask set. I know that I've said this before, but if you're going to build this and mask this canopy, then I think you will need a mask set from Eduardo or Montex or something. It really helps doing that, and it will definitely improve the end result. So that's it, I think. Thank you for watching, and I see you soon. Goodbye.